Can you detail the intersection of your engineering experience and how you saw mental resilience and determination coming out of that?
Everything has to do with systems. And what I learned in engineering was that if you take a system, you isolate it, you create some form of equation that is generalized, and then you analyze that equation, and then you add on to that specific equation some other system, then you can get to the next stage. So for me, it was one funny story. I went to my physics teacher and they gave me an equation, which is really like a general equation for how an object falls and reaches a certain velocity. And I said, I went to my professor at university and I said, that when I was in the military, I was skydiving and I picked up this equation. And I know that if I plug in 12,500 feet and you jump from an airplane, you pass the speed of sound if and that would not work well with this equation. So clearly your equation is flawed. And so that's when I learned that you analyze a system, and then later on in another course, we had to evaluate air resistance, and then we went into further equations that would now include something else. And so I brought this to mental resilience because, again, if you isolate essentially your nervous system and then you analyze this particular one, then you can analyze another one and then bring the other one. So, for example, sleep. Right? I knew exactly during the Epic Deca how much sleep I would get or how much sleep I would need. I tested myself based on that system alone and then transferred it. So, again, it's breaking down everything into systems.
When did you know that you wanted to see the world in that way? I mean, did it take you getting to college and kind of putting life into that perspective, or did that happen post-collegiately? Because I wouldn't necessarily think that those two would really transition well into each other.
They don't. They don't at all. I think most students are completely missing it. For me, I just knew it because I had practical tools. So I had the military background where everything was physical and not much was you're not using your brain that much when you're in the military. You're basically following orders, whether you are an officer or whether you are a non-commissioned member. And then when you transition to the uh, to university and to college, it was only brain and nothing. I was going to the gym and I was the only one in my class going to the gym. So there was some discrepancies there. And I knew that I did not I thought it was completely different and I just needed to focus on schooling until I figured out, well, I remember I felt much better. And so it wasn't just a feeling. I understood the patterns. And so what many people are missing in school is they're teaching you patterns. That's what they're teaching you. And that's whatever you're going to pick up. You can pick up uh, even a degree uh, as open as diversity or women's studies or it. There's still a pattern. So they're teaching you about a pattern, and it's up to you to think critically and to challenge that system. So if you are able to challenge that system, which to me, I think that was my strength. I was always challenging systems. all the time. I did not fit well in a military environment. But when I got to school, then I was able to think critically. And when I looked at certain equations, they just did not make sense. Or when we had certain homework, a lot of the engineers would do all the calculations and focus on getting the answer completely right. And I would look at things in a completely different way. For me, I would just look at, well, does it make sense? Yes or no? Can I use it? Yes or no? And I think that's where a lot of engineers are failing at their job, in essence, is because uh, the difference between a scientist and an engineer is that, generally speaking, the engineer would make things happen. And you need to make something, you need to create something, right? You need to take these equations and create something. And a lot of the schools are only teaching about the equation. So I did not think like this until I started creating these systems and understanding it myself at the practical level.
Why don't you feel like you fit into the military mindset?
Well, because the military is, you must walk like everybody. You must breathe like everybody. They teach you, you have courses on how to walk. So, and that's for most military that I've seen is, let's take walking, for example. You have to dig your heel. So you have to walk and dig your heel. And any human would look at it from any other point of view and think this is completely preposterous. You understand human physiology at even at a basic level. You know that you're going to hurt your entire body because you're creating some form of pounding, even at the bottom of your feet. So you're creating a resonance. You're creating this huge vibration throughout all of your systems. It's not conducive to good health for any rational thinking, other than in the military, where military would are saying you need to make noise, and so all walk at once, and so everybody is making that noise with left, right, left, and everybody is pounding their feet at the same cadence. So for me, I was always thinking critically when I'm looking at, and I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, why would I dig in my heel? So they're yelling at me, telling me, well, and that's just basic training. I'm not even in. I don't even have any rank or anything. I'm just basic training. They're telling me, well, dig your heel, make some noise, so look menacing. I'm like looking menacing has, for now, nothing to do with making noise. And when I'm with the enemy, there's more than enough. I will, like, this is an old mentality where you needed to look menacing as a giant group. We're talking about Wolfe and Montcalm in the history where the English were fighting the French in Quebec, the Plains of Abraham, where they all walked and pound their feet and all looked menacing. And you kind of knew exactly who was going to die because they had either their better equipment or, so it's always about that. We're not in this type of warfare nowadays, like, not at all. We're in like ghost warfare. We're in a warfare of drones. We're in, now it's even worse. We're in AI and nuclear. That's completely different than just pounding your feet and looking menacing. Looking menacing could be and that's in Canada, a 3 foot tall lady. That's the defense minister of Canada. That's the lady that represents Canada. You think she looks menacing? I don't think so. She doesn't even look menacing to my 14-year-old. Like, yeah, that this is so. If you're talking about menacing, there's nothing. So to me, I was thinking all the time like this: like, why are we eating this? Like, why are you shoving? We were all the time. The food is horrible, horrible, horrible. Either you're eating ration packs, or you're eating, um, or you're eating, which is like a ration pack for those that don't know. We're talking about a food that you rewarm that can last for about 50 years. Okay, we're talking about bunker food. Okay, so either you eat this or you eat deep fried food. And then you're asking me to perform at an elite level, like an Olympian level, where you're asking me to, for maybe army guys, go into a trench as fast as you can, like just right away. So you're going from a computer to all of a sudden, bam, go into a trench. Or if you're in a navy, well, you're going into a computer style to all of a sudden in the water saving someone's life because he fell overboard. Or so there's always this constant, okay, we need you to operate right now at an elite level, but yet we're not going to fuel the machine properly. We're not going to give you the best food, but yet we're going to ask you to perform the job of an Olympian, essentially, to perform the job of a lifeguard, a guy that saves people's life. So if you have a firefighter, right, you don't see people as firefighters in the civilians. No, they have barbecues in the back, like lots of protein, lots of fat. Guys are drinking, so there's beer, there's carbs intake. So I'm there, yeah, I'm there with you, okay. But you're able to understand that you're going to give the best fuel to your engine so that these people can perform at a longer. So there's longevity behind it. So that's why I'm saying I did not fit well at all. At all. Then there's the uniform style. One time I was on parade and I did not want to wear the, like, I had a shirt, but I did not want to wear the shirt. Okay. Now everybody's going to know about it. But so there was this jacket. I put it on top. I zip it up. That's it. I have a shirt, but I don't have a shirt under. I just went real quick. I don't want to put it on. That's it. But now the officer is saying, well, okay, everybody is really hot. Take your jacket off, right? I'm naked under there. Yeah, I don't want to take my shirt. I don't want to take my jacket off. And I turn to my buddy. I say, look, I don't have a shirt on under here. Like, I don't. And he turns to me. He says, oh, wow, I'm so relieved. I don't either. And I'm like, oh, whoa, okay. So now that I wasn't alone, there was a couple of people. They did not even have a shirt underneath. So then the officer started asking, and then he noticed that a lot of people just did not have their shirt underneath, right? So, and then now we get into now like I said, the warfare has changed a lot. It's become very comfortable. People with from a computer can do it. So it's become the mandatory physical training is not as stringent for especially the Canadian forces. And I was talking about it to military officers, and I was telling them this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. You cannot ask people to perform at an elite level and fuel them improperly and then not give them proper time to train. These systems are going to fail at some point. And so eventually, now there's a report that just came out, I think it was 2 years ago, and over 68% of the Canadian forces is overweight, and over 28% is obese. So it just proves that, I mean, it's an I told you so moment, but to me, I just choose to live differently. So again, I think it's the point of the moral of the story is more think critically and think for what is best for yourself. There is a system in place that I had to follow. Yes, I went overboard with no shirt on. However, if you follow the structure to a certain degree, there needs to be some form of ways that you can take care of your body, because when you're talking about being in extreme environments, we're talking like missions and all of these environments, they're very stressful on the body, on your nervous system. You're more prone to cardiovascular problems, even Even there are certain people that unalive themselves because of those problems, of what they see, what they live. And if you regulate these systems, if you are able to have at least a baseline, and even the system helps you create these form of healthy habits and not indulge in them, then I think that we would have a much stronger and much happier military. I think that a lot of people would join the military because it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoy the people I was with, great conversation, great time. But again, it's for me, it's in the past, and that's how I see it. Yeah.
When did you first realize that you could control your mind?
Mm.
That you were an active participant in your own mindset?
I was an active participant in my mind.
Because I mean, the anecdotes that you were just sharing about conforming to the military and how poorly you did that would suggest that you've known how to create that mindset for yourself for a while. Would you agree?
I did, but I was just shooting in the dark. Like I was just living, and it was. I think everybody has this ability for survival, and everybody has this ability to. Right, it's like the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system, and so because I trained a lot, my system was able to adapt to more stressful situation, and as a result, that's when I was able to live or go through certain instances that might have been the end for some people that were not trained. So I would say because I was training, then I developed it. But it's not until I would say it's when I wrote my book. Yeah, it's when I wrote my book after the Epic Deca. That's when I realized it. Because you don't really realize it when you're in the moment. It's really after, and after when you start putting it together. Because a lot of people started reaching out to me saying, "How did you do this? Like, we want to know about your nutrition. We want to know about the mindset." And I had no idea how I did it. It was to me, it was it was really for me. It was natural. I had this morphology that was created over time. I had this not only the physique, but I had the mindset that was created, and I had even the system. I had over, I think it was 29 pages around there created, where my crew knew exactly how I would react in any type of situation. If I lack sugar, here's how I will react. Here, if I lack sodium or any type of electrolyte, this is how I will react. Not just the general form, but really, it was really in detail. Like, what is my favorite candy, or my favorite, like the favorite topic that I want to talk about if I'm going through a mental breakdown, or if something happens, like what will happen. And then the no quitting was definitely in there. Definitely it was. Yeah. So it was after. Yeah, it was when I wrote my book. That's when I started realizing, oh, that's what I did. Oh yeah, and I did this here and here and here. Okay, and that, yeah, it was through writing my book.
I mean, speaking of thinking of things in hindsight, what from that military experience do you think you have used moving forward into ultra marathons and like all of the conditioning that you ended up doing? What did you take forward from a mental perspective?
It's not because there's a system that you have to follow it. Hence the no shirt part. And not necessarily listening to stupid people because they've been provided a certain level of authority. They have ranks, they have a certain level of authority to a certain degree, and I have to respect the rank, but not necessarily the person. So it translated into ultra endurance because when um, when we did the Epic Deca, everybody stood in a circle and started praying to a shaman and slapping. There was a guy in the middle with a branch and with holy water and hitting people. Uh, that, so to me, I'm a Christian man. So I stayed respectfully on this side. I said, look, I can't be in this. So although the organizer were pushing me to go into that circle, I understood from the military that some of these orders you don't have to listen to it. They are stupid people, okay, and there's good people in the military too. There's some very brilliant, intelligent people. Um, there's a lot of people that even became well, we look at the UK. Um, One of their president was a clearance diver, also in the military. So Winston Churchill. So we look at a lot of people were good, but I dealt with my fair share of stupid people in the military, and there are some people that are just. I think God is alive because they are still alive. Right? It's I mean, I don't know how they're able to even tie their boots. They would need Velcro, these types of people, but yet they're in charge because they've been there for a long time. So I think to me, um, that's what I got out of this. I transferred it to Ultra. And when I got to the Epic Deca, they told me, well, you have to stand in that circle. And I told them, I'm a Christian guy. I can't stand in that circle. This is a religious, well, it's cultural. This is religious, and that's it. I will respectfully decline. I will stay on the side. That's it. Like there's no fighting or anything. They did not like it, and they're entitled to. But I'm not going to budge. To me, that's it. I'm not going to indulge in even a discussion to pray to your or be a part of your ceremony. You do your ceremony, and I'll stand on the side, and then I'll do the event. I'm here for the Epic Deca. Like I'm here to be part of history and do 10 Ironman in 10 days on 6 different Hawaiian islands. I'm not here to do like look, you do your ceremony, I'll stand on the side, and then we'll go. Again, it works the same in business, right? Now we have people telling us, well, you can't. We had some people telling us the other day, well, you can't get into Congo unless you do this and that and this and that. And on the 14, we put in uh, a tournament for the children, and it was a soccer tournament for the children. And we're now in 4 different countries, helping thousands of children, providing them with clean water and houses and sports and initiatives and all sorts of programs that we built. And so I've been told many times by stupid people in the military, right, that I can't do it. It's too hard, or you're, all right, this is the system, you must fall into it. But there's always some way to discuss, right? There's always some discussion that can, right? You can always talk about it and see if it is. Maybe it is right that the door is closed, but sometimes the door is not closed. See, I was not even supposed to be in engineering, like at all. And then I talked to people, and then eventually the door opened. The door opened to engineering. I was bad in math. Poor, so bad. Yeah, and then now all my courses in engineering were all had a mathematical base. Every single one of them. We did business, math, all math. Like we had a special course just on math. Everything was about math. So yeah, that's what I got out of my military experience and transferred into ultra and into my personal life and even in business.
I mean, so a lot of your life has been spent testing your personal limits.
Mm.
At what point do you maybe step back and say, I don't have a limit?
I did for a while. There was a coach after the Epic Deca. I got back to Texas. So picture this. I got to because to get to the Epic Deca, I used just as testing 2 Ironman. Okay, so I did a half Ironman in Galveston, then I did a full Ironman in Woodland, then I flew to Hawaii, and so I spent a month in Texas. Then I flew to Hawaii. Then I did the 10 Ironman. So now I have about 12 Ironman in my system. Okay, and an Ironman is 140.6 miles of swimming, biking, and running. So you time that by 12. Then I have this in my system. I go back to the coach, and right away I get in the pool and I start working out. And the coach, he looks at me and says, JD, I've seen athletes like you. Very often, here's what happened. They do these large events and they're never able to recover. They crash, they're never able to recover. And that's when a light bulb went in my head. Obviously, there was the other one that went on. So there was kind of like 2 light bulbs. One of them said, well, you have no limit, like you asked. And then the other one is saying, well, question this. Question your mind because now it's telling you have no limits. So be careful. And I was already at a stage where I was wearing sandals because no shoes would fit. My face is burned. My IT bands were so tight. After the 4th day, I'm in a wheelchair. So I still finished the event, but to get from the airport all the way to your flight, you're in a wheelchair, all burned in a hoodie. Someone stole your pants. You're in your underwear. You're looking at everybody and you're going, yeah, I'm going to finish. So that's part of that's part of the Epic Deca. I think, well, I get to the finish line, get to Texas. Coach tells me that, and he says, "JD, uh, you're not allowed in the pool. Please, just leave. Get out of the pool." He's like, "You're allowed to do 1 or 2 lanes, or do the 400 meters, but just leave after. Please don't do the workout. I know you can, but please just leave after because." And there was another part as well. It was for the other people because I think it hurts a lot of people. I always tell because there is another uh, human, right, David Goggins. He does these kind of feat. I think he's amazing at getting people through the door into ultras, into the world of get out of bed and do something with your life. But as a response to longevity, that's not appropriate. Everyone has their limits, even him. We've seen it right now with his last year racing, and it's not doing so well on that side, right? So I would say for longevity reason, please don't follow these systems. And for me, I thought, yeah, I'm invincible, but I was challenging it. I did a lot of other races, and eventually, I came to a point where I said, "Okay, I'm gonna do something else. Like this is, it was, but my body had to tell me this is enough, JD. Like this is so it was my body that had to tell me this is enough. You are. It was the first time that I was taking Coca-Cola for a race. So I was fueling, but improperly. I was in a state of mind where I was seeking all of the hard chemicals for my system to make it at peak performance, and that part was unhealthy. And when I was able to, like I said at the beginning, when you're able to recognize this pattern, when you're able to recognize this is the end, the other side is dying, breaking your system, breaking your body, or the ultimate part is your heart could stop. Right? So to me, I said, yeah, I'm gonna stop doing any physical event, and I flew to Florida, and I couldn't stop. Like I wanted to, so I took flight lessons. I want to learn how to fly a plane. So I I just changed my mind to do something else, and I brought my kid along. He enjoyed his time to a certain degree because he was not into planes at that time. But I changed it. I now now looking back, and it helped me because when I wrote my book, um, I included a full chapter about recovery methods, and now I'm a huge advocate of helping people slow down and recover instead of always pushing. Because many people just look for the next stimulant, look for the next high, look for the next, so to speak, coffee. And really, if they would take naps, and my engineering degree would have been so much more enjoyable if I did this instead of just taking all the material at the last minute and just going into the exams like all the other students. I wish that now going back with this mindset, I think it would be more enjoyable. But well, I finished. I got the ring, and but yeah, it would be more enjoyable, definitely. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Epic Deca.
All right.
I had not heard of it prior to you reaching out. Um, that's insane. That's an incredible pursuit. How did you hear about it? How did you decide that you were going to be a finisher?
Okay. The real answer is 2 months before the
2 months?
yeah yeah February, yeah, March, April, May, yeah, maybe three, yeah. Yeah, 3 months before, yeah. Yeah, I was not registered for the Epic Deca. So it's a Epic 5 brand does it every year. There's about 45, give or take, people that did this right now. 5 Ironman, 5 Ireland, 5 days. But what happened is during their 10-year anniversary, they had the Epic Deca. So the Epic Deca stands for 10. They built the Epic Deca. 10 athletes registered. And for me, I was already into the ultra world. And I was following this guy called Joe Jave. He was a doctor in New York at the time. And he was one of the 10 registered at the Epic Deca. In November or October, November, he got hit by a car. Just bam. He's riding his bike at an event, gets hit by a car, and now he has to learn back how to walk, and he has to do physio and go through all. So he doesn't take the decision right away. He puts it on Facebook only. It was the end of January, like middle of January, end of January. He posts on Facebook, and I follow him. I follow the guys that are doing ultra. I try to learn about new ways of optimizing my performance, and I love learning, right? So I'm a huge nerd. I love, like, oh yeah, on Friday nights there's I'm reading medical documents and research, and I love learning. Okay, hands day, hunger for more in life, or the Hungry Warrior Academy, right? I love learning about people's stories. And so now I'm following this guy, Joe J. If he puts it on Facebook, and there's this voice in my head, and I'm a Christian. So always question these voices, right? If they fit with your values. And a voice in my head that says, well, how about you ask him? Ask him about the Epic Deca if you can take his seat. And me being me, I question the voice. I say, I don't even have the money. There's the registration was $10,000 US, which to me in currency is 14, give or take, 14, $15,000. I don't have $15,000 just laying around. So I reached out to him anyway. I reached out to him anyway, and I said, "Can I buy it?" Because again, if I don't know if he's going to say yes, then there's no point in reminiscing on it. And I think there's a lot of people that have behavioral addictions, not necessarily drug or alcohol, but they have these behavioral addictions because they numbed a flame or they missed out on an opportunity. They saw a beautiful girl and they were supposed to ask her out, but they didn't because they had fear of rejection. And then eventually it led to marrying somebody else and going through all of these problems and saying, I had my shot, I'm sure of it, right? Or I had my shot at, well, for me, it was the Epic Deca. So I said, well, I'll just ask. It doesn't cost anything. And he said, yes, I'll talk to the organizer. The organizer said, yes, you're able to, you're like a fast guy, an Ironman. That's fine. Go ahead. Okay. So then I went to prayer. Then I said, well, God, you're going to have to do something because I don't have $15,000 hanging around. I was $20,000 in debt. And I'm taking care of a child. Like I'm a single dad in the northern part of, well, at that time, I was in the northern part of Quebec. Okay. In the snow, I'm with a child, and all I do is I still train, but I'm doing snowshoeing. I built this harness.
So now you need $15,000. You have 3 months. What happens now? What does the lead up look like?
Yeah, we're talking about $15,000 that I need. That's just the registration, by the way. Then I'm $20,000 in debt. And then so I have to fly 4 people all the way to Hawaii. I have to pay for their food, pay for their lodging, pay for their flight, pay for any type of equipment, test that equipment, have all of the training, well, at the last minute. I have to prepare all of this, and I'm a single dad in the northern part of Quebec in the snow. I can't swim. The pools were closed at that time. So I can't do one of the 3 disciplines that somehow I'm supposed to do 10 times. And I'm already registered for like over 20 races. And I paid for the registration of all the other races, but somehow, yeah. So I prayed to God, and full disclaimer, please don't do this at home, but I guess I did not have a house, but now I'm doing fine. I have a house and I'm doing very, very well financially, but so I sold my house. Yep. So so I sold my house. I wanted to do the Epic Deca. so I yep. So I did. And it was done in a way that, see, there were signs, okay? And I saw them as godly signs. I bought this house when I entered university, and I renovated it, started renting. Then what I did was it went up in price But then I tried to sell it every year. I would contact the real estate agent and say, sell the house. And the house right beside of mine would sell every year. Every year it sold. Okay, so that house sold 2 times, and another house right beside of me sold. We're talking, the house is literally beside me, sold. So now I have like 3 times, three houses that sold, and somehow they're selling beside me, and my house doesn't sell. So every year I would try to sell my house, and it would not sell. And I would think, well, maybe it's that time of year. Well, so I try a different time of year, maybe. And the real estate, so, and it would never sell. At that time, at that moment, we had, and I say we, I mean it's me. I had 2 offers, and I made enough money to survive for that race. And I was, yeah. So I said, okay, well, thank God, now I have the money. So I told God, well, I need 4 people to get me to be to be in Hawaii, and they need to understand ultra endurance event and how to crew. And 4 people. I reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of people. I was very surprised. I was very very surprised that a lot of people. I reached out to them and say, I'm paying for 2 weeks in Hawaii, like food, flight, everything paid, and people would say no. I was very surprised about that, but I see it now as protection God was putting, because these people would have not been ready. Even my dad, I reached out to him and he said, JD, I can't help you, right? Even financially, like my mom could not help me, my dad could not help me. My mom and my dad, we grew up very I mean, I say poor, but we're not talking about third world country. We still had like a pool in the backyard, but we were not eating the best food, right? We were eating oatmeal on Sundays, and we had to count our pieces of bread, slices of bread, and right. So 4 kids, one income. So it was, but we never lacked of anything. Yeah, I had some pretty decent parents, but they were not able to help me financially. So it was all on me. That's it. Thank God. Yep, thank God. So I sold my house, and I found 4 people, amazing people. We flew to Hawaii, and then I started. Well, for me, I flew to Texas first because I had 2 Ironmen. I was already registered. One was at the beginning in Texas, and at the end there was another one in Woodland at the end of April. So I did those, and the way I looked at it was more of the scientific method. Again, engineering. I took and I said, well, uh, what you need at first is a plan, and the plan is pretty much I'm going to do the Epic Deca. That's the plan. And then the strategy became, well, now how am I going to accomplish each task? So for the swimming, well, I changed the angle of the sticks of my poles when I would climb mountains. So I would activate the same muscle group as I'm climbing. So I would not have to swim, but then I'm all like my muscles are ready for swimming. And I was already that's my strength anyway, to swim. So I wasn't too worried. Uh, and then I saw the prototype. So I built, I went on Kijiji, or like a platform like Facebook Marketplace. I bought a bike, and I renovated the whole bike. I learned about biomechanic. I just changed all the parts. I kept only the frame. I changed everything, all the braking system and everything that I needed. Then I built this. So it became my prototype. But now I needed to test it, but I can't test it outside because there's snow everywhere right now because it's February in the northern part of Quebec and minus 30. I'm running, and there is frozen ski goggles, and I'm running a 10K with 2, 3 jackets. Or so I flew to Texas and used these 2 Ironmen to like a half and a full as a prototype race. So I would not race them. It would only be for fun. I would be meeting people, and waving at them, and I would not be going fast. I would just be testing my equipment. Is it comfortable? Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything in my nutrition, in my training, in my mindset? What am I missing that I need in the Epic Deca? The Epic Deca is the challenge. Then I flew to Hawaii. My crew met me over there. I arrived early to acclimatize, get a bit of a tan too. And then I got to Hawaii, and then I started. So that's a bit of the setting for the Epic Deca. Yeah, yeah, I'm that type of guy.
When when you create such specific niche environments to test yourself, how do you create a support system around you that fills in the gaps? Who are those people?
I always say get a coach that will fit and match your needs. Right? When I say a coach, it can be a psychologist, can be if you're into you have some high medical problems and you need psychiatry. That's fine. Go ahead. But I would say a lot of people fall too far and too fast into the medical system immediately without getting so much help from people who've been through these dark paths themselves. So they might complement what psychologists might do in some case. For me, I reached out to. For me, I started reaching out to psychologists, right? Because it was after the military, so I had to meet psychologists, and they were okay. All I'm saying is that I saw a lot of psychologists, and for me, it did not work. Like, there's nothing that these people were able to do at all, and I would say they created more problems than anything. Okay, especially I had one time she talked to me about my faith and questioned it, laughed at me as well. She was more into other religions, and so to me, again, being a Christian, it's already difficult as it is to hold these values. Imagine now talking to someone and trying to open up to someone who's laughing at you. So to me, I just never found my match into psychology. That's all I'm saying. How you build this system is get the coach, and when I say coach, psychologist, anybody that is in healthcare, or get a person that will get you from point A to point B. So when I was at the Epic Deca and I was in Texas, at that moment, what do I need? I need a swim coach, I need a run coach, I need a cycling coach, and I need and I need a triathlon coach, right? Or I need at least a triathlon coach. I ended up with a cycling coach, a swimming coach, and since I was already, I understood in the military that my feet, there was a lot of pounding. I focused more on the cycling and the swimming portion because I understood that my body could be injured. So I pushed aside a lot of the running, and I did a lot more cycling. So I had a swimming coach, a cycling coach, and a triathlon coach who oversaw my whole dynamic. So it was not just one coach. And then you surround yourself with people that you either want to become, or B, that are at the very least going in the same direction as you. Okay. And when I say this, I have a great mentor right now in business, not a Christian at all, but we're heading in the same direction. He's leading me to be in that, so for in that business space.
Right.
In terms of spirituality, I tell him I'm going to pray for you because I pray for my enemies, but that's another story. But well, right? But I I can still deal with him while praying for him. That's it. He can deal with me to a certain degree, and that's it. So how do you build this system? Well, you don't have to like 100% of the person. Like, like people, like you see a lot on TikTok and social media, all these women that have unnecessary and out of this world uh, criterias for men to be before that you get into the perfect man. But I hate to break it to you, but you're going to be alone. You're going to be alone your entire life. The perfect man died. He died about 2,000 years ago. He was crucified. That's it. Okay? And he was never with a woman. So there you go. So, so, so you can't have that perfect man. That perfect man does not exist right now. So try to find someone who is matching what you're looking for without ruffling too much feathers. There are certain things that you don't need to talk about. If politics is it, if I have another guy that I work with. For him, again, different religion. Do we deal business together? Yes. He says to my kids, just don't talk about religion. I don't need to force my religion on people. They're going to know that I'm Christian by my action, first off, and by because they're going to be able to correlate with the Bible. That's it. Otherwise, that's it. So I would say first, create your set of values. If you have a set of values, then you can create a system, and then you have your goals, because your goals should, or your values should precede your goals. So many coaches say your goals should be first, and then they just say, well, you'll figure it out. But if you do this, then you end up essentially going into the wrong, like going into a major and trying to figure out yourself in the process. But if you already have a system, like a set of values in place, then at least you have some grounds to stand on when you don't want to perform certain behaviors or think a certain way. And that can lead to a more prosperous life and healthier behaviors, definitely. So that's how you create a system. First, you create your values, then you have your goals. And when you have your goal, then those people, we're not talking about law of attraction and trying to fit in people into your life. Trying to just think positively and everything is going to be positive. Okay. You have to come down to reality. Okay. I deal with energy all the time as a naturopath. I understand these force field. No, no, you're not attracting money by just thinking about money. You're not, no, that's, to me, it's not a thing. Okay. It's not a thing. You can think about it. That's fine. You can, but you must go out, do actions, perform these actions according to where your values are and your goals. And your goals. Why? Because if you get to your goal and you stay straight to your values, you're going to get the wrong people with you. So that's how you create that system. What do I need? I need my brother did this. He's still married, has 2 kids. He went to the date and he said, I mean, he went to the date with a clipboard and he said, this is what I want. This is what I need. And as funny as it is, she pulled out a notepad as well. And she said, I had this in my purse. That's what I was looking for. And turns out it was a match. So now they're still together. They've been together for now years, right? So if you have your values in place, values were matching, the goals were matching. This is what I want. And are you able to help me? He said, look, I'm not a lawyer now, but I want to become a lawyer. Haven't been accepted yet. And his law school application was more like my Epic Deca too. But, and he said, I want to do this. Are you able to help me with this? And then he created that system. And then the final one, which is the hardest for people, when you grow, dead leaves are going to stop. growing on your tree, and they're going to fall. It's sad that some people will they're just not at that level. And I've told a guy once, I said, look, you're hurt. It was when I was writing my book. I said, um, Brian, it was his name, right? Still his name. I said, Brian, not that he changed. Said, Brian, right now I can't be your friend. I can't be your, or I think the best way that I'm going to be your friend is I will need to focus on my book. I cut him completely from social media. He was calling me all the time, and I like Brian, good friend of mine now. And I went back to him and I said, all right, now I'm done writing my book. I'm gonna fly you and pay for your hotel and meals, and I'm gonna fly you to Texas. We're unleashing the book, or releasing the book in Texas for the English version. And I want you to come to Ironman, Texas with me. I'm covering everything. Please come with me. I love you, Brian. Right? I really want you to be there. But at the moment, I had to separate myself from a good friend of mine who we were in the military for years together. We've been through so much together in the military, and I was his anchor. But I told him, look, I have to distance myself for now, for the time being. That's how it's gonna go, and I have to put my barriers. And I know I'm gonna cheat. I know I'm if I don't block you, I know that I'm gonna text you, or I need to be focused on my book. And then once I release the book, I'll go back and I'll make a grandiose reopening of our friendship. And right away flew him. He enjoyed every moment. It's one of his best trip. He loved every moment. And now we're still friends, still very good friend. We call each other all the time. But again, you need to understand that these leaves will fall. It's not because it's your mother, not because your father. They birth you. You need to, according to the Bible, you need to honor them. That's it. You don't need to stay with them if they're hurting you or hurting the goal that you're going through, and they're hurting your values. That's it. So to me, I had to do this, and it's painful sometimes because you're watching your kid, or you're watching your friends, your close one, the people that you've been with for years, and you just have to drop them. That's it, because you have to focus on what is at stake. Sometimes you miss out on beautiful girls, but you say, well, this is it. First, you don't match my values. Second off, I need to get to that other stage. So that's the way I would frame it on how to create a support system.
Who were the four crew members that you brought to Epic Deca?
Um, Michelle, the other guy, I can't mention him, and Sarah and Shane.
What were their roles?
So since it's 10 days, the only person that had to be up during the race is this guy, yours truly. So the way we evaluated the situation is I said, two people on, two people off. So one day is going to be two people, and then two people for the next day, and then we'll just alternate and go all the way to 10 like this. The crew members would take care of carrying my bags. They would take care of preparing all of my nutrition, which was very precise. They would prepare ice buckets for my feet to go in there, because my feet were swollen after not even the third Ironman. My feet would not even fit in my shoes. So they would prepare this. They would go and get the rental cars. They would go and enter they would book in or check in into the hotel, check out at the hotel. and to do so, then they had credit cards. So I gave them each a credit card to book everything. So everything was under my name, but they were the ones that had access to. They had access to my money. They had access to. They had my life in their hands. That's the way I see it. They were the one coordinating between the organizers and me. They were the ones doing all the social media, getting all the food, because sometimes you get some cravings and you want to get a special item. And so the crew just know, well, JD really likes this, but we're on an island and it's right now half an hour away and he's cycling. So they would leave, go get me a smoothie, which is refreshing. And I would come back. And then while you're cycling, I'm drinking a smoothie in Hawaii. Like to me, I saw it as I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying Hawaii. It was better. I could be on the beach just laying out and getting a tan, or I could be swimming, biking, and running all of Hawaii and enjoying the scenery, the quiet. They had to deal with social media posts. That's what they did. My food. So my food was calculated. I brought my food with me. So not just the nutrition part, but the food also. They had my passport, and they were following me. So it's like a leapfrog. So if I'm say cycling, they would go behind me, and then they would go in front of me, and then wait, go outside, hand me whatever I want, and then I would pass, and then they would come back, and they would go really really far, wait for me, and then because they're not going to shut down the entire island just for 10 people to race. So we had cars passing by us. We had people. Molokai was the worst. We had people throw liquids at us in containers. A guy was running after us with machetes. He was, just because it was. So they did not want any tourists, but we already had the approval, like not us, but I mean the organizer already had the approval to get onto the island. So a lot of the locals were not excited or thrilled to see us arrive and start racing. And it was that pandemic part. So Molokai was one of the last place on Earth that had a case. So you're not too keen about seeing tourists who might bring something onto your island. Right? Many people thought that they would catch it if we went in. So I can understand their standpoint, and we had to deal with the situation. That's it. Which is pedal faster, JD. That's it. So
How
it's,
much of your success do you attribute to the systems that you put in place versus your mindset?
I think the mindset comes with the system. So the system, I would say, they are the main part. You have to create these systems for yourself, and then the mindset will come eventually. For example, someone that's never run in their life, they're listening to this, they're thinking, well, this guy is needs to be put into a mental institute, and I've heard that many times. It's too much. It's probably hurting a lot of people by telling them. I'm not telling people to go do the Epic Deca. The Epic Deca doesn't exist anymore. It was done for their 10-year anniversary. I'm saying that people should be more active. We are by far one of the generation that is the least active in the whole history of mankind. And we have so much distraction at our fingertip and everywhere. People are antisocial and have anxiety and depression, and it's sad. It's very sad. So if you create a system in place for whatever you're going through, let's take it that we're not trying to trigger anyone. Let's go with a 5K. Okay, so try to do a 5K. Well, you need to build a system. I mentioned a coach. Well, you get a running coach, right? That would be one, right? Create these values, create these goals. My goal is I want to do a 5K. And then you build a system around performing a 5 kilometer run. Eventually, your mindset will, it's an artificial way of testing your mind. That 5 kilometer. And I can honestly say that most people can do a half marathon. Most people can do a half marathon because you can walk the half marathon. If you don't have a cutoff time, most people can just walk 21 kilometer. Right? Is it healthy to not train and then do a half marathon? No, not at all. Please train. Please do the hard work. But when you train, when you begin with these systems in place, then the mindset comes. Because I did not have that mindset when I was even in the military or even before. I was the kind of guy who was now my dog tags are on the wall, but these metal chain around your neck that says I'm a Christian, and if I die, I want to be buried or a priest or a guy that is a pastor, and that's Christianity. That was Christianity for me when I was in the military. So, and I thought I was a Christian. Everybody saw me as a wow, this guy doesn't drink. This guy, the parties, not so much. So I thought I was very serious until now you build this mindset around it. Or even the Bible talks about renew your mind. So your mind renews every single day. But once you build these systems and you go about it, which for Christians is supposed to be the Bible, right? When you build these systems, these Bibles, these mini Bibles for yourself. For example, well, I need to meditate every day, or I need to kiss my son every single day. That's it. Right? That's so. There you go. You build these system in place, and then the mindset comes with it. Eventually, if um, once you build this framework, then you're looking at doing a 5K and you will understand. And I guarantee you, anybody that's done a 5K will understand. Well, here's a 10K. Well, I'm sure that I can do more. And then they go into a 10K. Then they maybe go into a half marathon. And maybe they never get to the Ironman. Maybe they never get to the marathon, but at least it will change their mindset. It will alter something in their brain where now they are more, and even in their physiology, they will understand that they're capable of doing much more than what they previously were able to. So that's so I would say the system comes first before building, and that's why I mentioned values before even getting into a goal.
Right. What started Hungry Warrior Academy?
It was, I see a lot of people building all these warrior institution and warrior this, warrior that. And I saw a lot of stupid warriors. I saw a lot of people that are just no. And then when you look at the story of David and Goliath in the Bible, you look at if you're familiar with it, the story of David and Goliath. The brothers of David had the equipment, they had the training for being warriors, they had everything to be warriors. But yet, when the battle came and they're looking at this giant Philistine, somehow there's only one person that was hungry enough, that was willing to stand in front of him with no armor but the armor of God. And those are the type of people that we wanted to attract and build. We did not want to just build anybody. We want the people that are committed and serious about changing and transforming their life, not just the guy who wears a dog tag and says he's a Christian. I was that guy. And now that's it. I've made mistakes and I want to show that I am hungry. I am able to follow these systems. And that's how we started Hungry Warrior Academy.
So we have about 6.5 minutes left. Is there anything else that you think that I missed about telling your story? Anything you'd like to promote? Anything moving forward that we should look out for?
Yeah, we don't do any promotion of our services because it sells for itself. We are the best in the market. That's definitely uh, so. There's just they go to hungrywarrioracademy.com and we're the best. So I'm excited to have a great team. The best part for me, and I think that's where I'll share with you, is the philanthropic side. So we are with the money and the profit that we make, we help now thousands of children in 4 different countries, providing them with opportunities such as clean water, food, shelter, and also sports opportunities where we're not just dumping money on them. We are also putting people on the ground, helping them understand the mindset behind it on how to overcome certain challenges that they might have because they might think that it's more prosperous in this country. And although this might be true to some extent, they have, for example, one of the thing that I discovered when I went to Kenya in those small villages is they have much less distraction, which then generates less anxiety and less, or I can't say anxiety, I would say less mental disconnection or and more social more social interaction. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be able to share it with me. One last message that I'll share is there's nothing special about me, like at all. Like I naturally am gifted in terms of endurance sport, uh, but in terms of other sports like lifting cars or lifting heavy loads, I'm not the elite. So I would say find what you're good at and then develop that those systems for yourself so that you can achieve certain things. Because right now it's the best time in all of society. It's is the best time to upgrade. It's the best time. Forget about presidents and economies and all of that. It's the best time to upgrade. The bar is extremely low in terms of everybody, men, women. The bar is very low to do anything in life you want to become. The bar is it's extremely low. So yeah, so, um, so work on these systems and don't think that JD is up here and I will never be able to achieve what he is over time. I did not do the Epic Deca overnight. I trained for it, and eventually it led to something that now people are able to to see as an inspiration to get off the couch and do it in a healthy way. So yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking me through your life, your accomplishments. What a crazy resume you have.